All right, guys. So Belgium 5, the U.S. men's national team 2. It was definitely a second half collapse. There's no question about it. And it feels like very bad timing considering that the World Cup is coming in just 3 months. Now, I am here. Obviously, it's very negative and it's hard to put a positive spin on this. I'm going to try, however, to remind you that this was definitely a game of two halves. If we had gone out to Belgium and looked like a disaster the entire time, it would be very, very, very worrying. Okay. But the hope that we can maybe hold on to here is that, as we suspected, many of the MLS players got exposed. They got exposed in this second half when they all came on, and we absolutely fell apart. Tim Ream, Sebastian Berhalter, Max Barfsten, Cristian Roldan. As we have said many times, absolute disasters. Absolute disasters. And it's not only their fault, of course, but it feels like that was very almost predictable. We saw all these guys come on in the second half: Roldan, Berhalter, Arfsten. Ream stayed on the entire time despite being a disaster. And it was terrible. It was terrible. And I just don't know what Poch is thinking with all of these MLS guys. I don't understand it. Because if you look at that first half, for example, Greg here saying, let's face it, we're just not good enough to compete with the big boys. Well, actually, in the first half, we competed very well. You could argue in the first half, we were the better team. But then in the second half, I mean, it wasn't perfect. Okay. There were things about the formation that I thought didn't help us, particularly when we were getting isolated against a player like Doku. I thought being in a back three definitely would have helped us first half. But if you look, that first half, we were able to compete with Belgium and we looked at their level, if not marginally better. And when did the fall off happen? The fall off happened second half. We just started to crumble. The more MLS guys we brought onto the team, the worse it got. And so I understand the despair and I understand why this feels like such a disaster. It's certainly not good for confidence and it's certainly not good for morale. But in that first half, even with Richards and Adams and Dest missing, we were still able to compete with Belgium. Okay. Greg, 11 Yanks, that was not a full strength Belgian squad today, and we got roasted. I agree. When did we get roasted? First half or second half? First half or second half? Tac, how you feeling? I'll just read a couple of super chats here. Steven, we found our level. Belgium B team was too much. Guys, that was not a Belgium B team. It was not a Belgium
No.
B. They were missing Lukaku, okay? And some of their guys, like Tielemans, came off the bench late. That was not their B team. It was as much their B team as ours because we were missing Adams, Richards, Dest. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. Poch got all the answers he needed on Ream, Arfsten, Roldan, and Berhalter. We could have given, like, these answers were evident before. My concern is that Poch may not learn from this. We want him to, and we hope he will, but he may not, right? Now it's on him to make the right roster decisions and earn the paycheck. I hope so, but I don't think he's going to. I don't think he's going to be making changes this late. That was depressing. I don't get why Roldan and Ream keep playing. We got to do everything it takes to get Banks for the World Cup. I mean, look, you can't make Banks come if he doesn't want to come.
I mean, after that, he might not want to.
Yeah, if I'm Banks, it was depressing though. Why not us? This is why. Yeah, exactly. I hope we get trash versus Portugal. We need this beatdown. We need to see our errors before World Cup. MLS is trash. How many beatdowns do we need? Like, this was a beatdown against Belgium. We need to come back against Portugal. We really do. So, Tac, I was trying to say before you got here that the crumb of comfort you can take from this is that this was a game of two halves. We can't compete with Belgium. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. We saw it in the first half. It wasn't perfect, but it was very close in the first half. Second half, when we made all the substitutions and brought on all our favorite MLS lifers, that's when that's when we fell apart. So the only optimism I can take from this is if we continue against Portugal or after that to stick with the guys that we know can at least compete at a high level, it could be fine. if we start bringing in the Roldans and the Berhalters of the world, it's going to be a problem, a big one.
Okay, if we wanna try to be as rational, because if we go all full on reactionary, we're just gonna look at the result, which was a disaster in the second half, which was
I'm trying
a
to
mess.
provide perspective.
The good thing here, there's a few things, right? So the first half, I thought we outplayed Belgium. Besides the last like 5 to 10 minutes, we were much better than Belgium. We could have ended the first half with like a 2-0 lead, and then it's perhaps a different game. If we want to look at another positive, is if Pochettino studies this game, rewatches it, he will see his MLS Avengers all looked out of their depth. Roldan was actually less worse. Berhalter was worse. Arfsten was worse. Roldan was less
Ream.
worse, but still out of his depth. Tim Ream. So if we want to look at the positives, it's one, we looked good in the first half. So that means 45 out of the 90 minutes we looked good. And two, if there was a time to get exposed, it was now. So
Yeah, better now than at the World Cup, or better now than after the roster's been decided, like against Senegal or Germany, right? Definitely better now. My only question is Poch even going to learn from that? Because we've seen this before, right? We saw it against Turkey, we saw it against Switzerland, we saw it against Mexico, we saw it against South Korea, and yet all these MLS lifers are still there getting meaningful
Switzerland,
minutes.
Turkey. We've seen some of these guys get exposed. What he might do is he might just not call up one of them and then call up Diego Luna, as if that's going to change something.
Yeah.
So
Tac and Pete could sell their bathwater and it would be better than this BS USA squad. I've seen enough. Tac USMNT coach. Ream, McKenzie, and Roldan stand out to be left home. I mean, look, I don't think McKenzie is going to be left home. We don't have enough defenders to leave McKenzie home. I also don't think McKenzie was that bad. He got beat by Doku, but everybody got beat by Doku. Wea got beat by Doku. Like, the problem was not so much getting beat 1v1, it's how you cover for it. We didn't cover this, and that's tactical, right? It's on Poch. We didn't cover for how you get beat. When someone gets beat by Doku, there was no plan, right? In a back three, at least you have a right center back that can slide over and provide cover if somebody gets beat. In a 4-2-3-1, there's nobody. So what's happening is, and we saw this even in the first half, one of Johnny or Tessman would have to push back and help cover. So then they just push the ball back into the middle, and now they've got a shot from distance because we've lost our cover.
we can show that on screen if you want. I can put it here if you share it. Do you want me to?
Yeah, I can pull up. What would be the right app to pull?
I just use like lineup builder because you just have to like show them what we're talking about, which it's very easy to visualize it, but sometimes when we're explaining, it might be. I mean, anyone that watched the game.
Can we move the play? Yeah, we can. Okay. Let me pull it up here because I think this is important to talk about. This was the first game. Look, we moved to a 3-4-2-1. Let's take player personnel out of it for now. We moved to a 3-4-2-1 after we lost that terrible game to South Korea, right? And since we moved to the 3-4-2-1, we've actually looked pretty good, right? Now we move back to the 4-2-3-1 and we look as bad as we did before the formation change, okay? So let's take a look here. And I'm not saying that's the only reason. I'm just saying it didn't help, okay? So let's talk about a back three here. This is our back three. Forget the numbers, okay? Let's say this is Tim Weah here on the right, okay? Tim Weah gets beat, no problem. You have an Alex Freeman who's playing right center back come in and cover for him here, and the whole line can kind of slide over. But because we don't have that, what was happening was, even in the first half, and this happened throughout the game, you're playing with a back four, like so. So he gets beat, McKenzie can't drag all the way wide, and we leave a huge hole. So what ends up happening is one of Johnny or Tessman comes to help cover on this side. Then the ball is played into this dangerous spot right here, and they were getting pot shots from distance. That was absolutely a problem for us. And so I'm not saying it was the only problem, guys. Clearly, personnel in the second half was a big, big problem. But I saw a team in the first half that competed with Belgium, that created chances, that could have won that game. And then the decisions to bring on the MLS lifers in the second half made it far worse. And by the time we brought on Scally and Pepe and Reyna and all these guys, the game was cooked. The game was over. And so it's It's frustrating because it feels like something we've been screaming about for years, and yet the people in charge don't seem to learn. Yeah. Let me read a couple more of these these super chats. Okay. How much do Tyler, Chris, and Dest move the needle? So absolutely, Richards moves the needle for sure. Tyler Adams protecting that back line, that moves the needle. It moves the needle, especially if we're playing with a back three and a double pivot. Now, if you're back three, and based on today's performance, let's talk about Johnny because he's gotten a lot of hate and deservedly so. But I thought he had a good first half today. I don't know why he was subbed out. But if you have Tyler and Johnny, okay, behind a back line at this point, that's probably going to have to be Freeman, Richards, McKenzie, because it can't be Ream. I would feel a lot better about that. Watch the call it what you want, guys. Glaze Aguiman while ignoring the MLS Avengers stinker. Look, Aguiman, credit to him. He finished that goal. Good for him. Ricardo Pepi pressed him, and he's one-on-one with the keeper. Every striker should finish that goal. Everyone. Good for him for doing it, though. Was that a handball or what? Yes, it was a penalty.
It was.
He redirected it. He redirected it completely.
Even if they didn't call it, though, like the performance still was crap in the second half. Remove one goal, it's still terrible.
Yes. The last 15 minutes of the first half, we started to go down. The big question is why play a back four versus back three? If I want to give Pochettino the benefit of the doubt, maybe he felt like he didn't have someone to anchor a back three with Chris Richards being out. That could be what he was thinking. But what he needed to do, in my opinion, is balance that out with the need to cover Doku. How do you then cover for the threat of Doku when you have an isolated fullback, right? I'm watching this Matt Turner goal again, the first one that he conceded. I'm starting to think it is more and more on Turner. But we didn't plan for that. Not just that. I felt like in a 3-4-2-1, having two creative midfielders behind a striker allowed us to create chances and to get more goal-scoring opportunities in a way that a 4-2-3-1 doesn't allow us. Okay? So there's two problems with the formation shift. Then on top of that, you put Christian Pulisic playing hero ball, which was not good. So when you add the sort of cascading problems there, it all adds up to. And even with all that, we still looked okay first half, right? It wasn't a disaster, even though there were these problems. We still looked okay. And then it just got progressively worse second half, the more we subbed on worse players. It feels like we created this mess ourselves. This wasn't even necessarily but Poch created this mess from beginning to end. That's really the truth. And the blame is on him.
Just to add one thing, I hope, because we don't have credentials there, right? We're not the ones asking questions. I hope some people ask some very basic questions to Pochettino. Like first one, Johnny subbed out at halftime. The team was playing well. Was it pre-planned? Is he injured? Get that out of the way. Second thing, why was Roldan, Berhalter, Arfsten, why were they the first guys off the bench with like a guy like Aiden Morris as a possible option? Weston McKennie, why was he not dragged to the double pivot? And even though he was playing well, high up the field, drag him and then put Gio Reyna as the 10. Why did you change the formation from 3-4-2-1 that you were using, the back three? Some very
basic, really good.
Yeah, these are some very basic questions that I would love for someone to ask him. I hope someone does. They're also not very complicated questions, which
anybody in this chat knows this.
He can't get away with it. He should be able to answer those. Those are very straightforward questions.
I don't know what they're going to ask. In my experience, these, press conferences, we don't have the media to actually grill coach in any meaningful way. And that's not even really grilling. So Chubsy, exactly. Chubsy's making the same point. We looked decent in the first half, but it didn't feel as free-flowing as we can be in a 3-4-2-1. I'm going to go on a limb and say we could have scored 2 or 3 goals in a 3-4-2-1 in the first half, even if it was the same personnel. That's my honest opinion. Maybe you just have Tessman in a back three and have him, his job is to cover for Weah if he gets beat by Doku, right? And then maybe you have Aiden Morris in, or you have Weston McKennie there next to Johnny, because McKennie can do a defensive job as well. That's my honest opinion. And then, look, you could still get, McKennie's still a threat on set pieces. Both of the chances that he had came off of corners, right? So yeah, this is exactly that. This idea of playing Weah at right back, I'm not convinced can work. So Anthony, he plays there for his club, number one. Number two, he's really best as a wing back where he can get up and down the field. Three, he was up against Doku. He's not going to be facing Doku for most of the world, like definitely not for the group stage of the World Cup. I still think Tim Weah is a better 1v1 defender in that position than Des. But against a Doku, against a Vini Jr., well, maybe not Vini, but against anybody of any quality, you do need to have a plan for if your fullbacks get beat, and we just didn't. Arfsten, Triple G Jr., Roldan should never see the field again, but it feels like we've been saying this for years. Ream is slow but can dribble and pass. What? What are you saying? Ream was one of the worst players today. Is this a way for Poch to show Garber why MLS sucks? I don't think he's playing that kind of 4D chess. Don't worry, the MLS Avengers will take us to the final. Excellent, Durbin. This defeat against Belgium paints a bad image before the World Cup. That's what I think is very worrying. We talked about this camp needing to be a camp that gets the casuals excited about the World Cup. And so far, it did the opposite. If someone was curious and was like, oh, I wonder what the U.S. is like, and they turn this game on and they don't really watch the U.S., you think they care about the World Cup? Nah, they're not.
Well, we're a laughing stock.
Yes, and deservedly so. Deservedly so. But know how people call us too negative, Tac. They built out of the back better and had more composure in the final third. You talk about Belgium. They were just better. Simple as that. No, Brett, I don't think it was just that. I mean, they were significantly better than our MLS lifers. Yes, I agree with you there. But if you're saying that that loss was an accurate representation of the levels between Belgium and the team, I actually don't think it was. I think we were our own worst enemy. Only silver lining is that we were better in a back three and had some important injuries. How is that a silver lining? Oh, the silver lining is that we had injuries, so we would look different at the World Cup. This solidified Freese's spot.
Let me just say one thing. We need we're 2 months away from the World Cup. One, we're going to have injuries in the World Cup. There will be 1, 2, or 3 players missing. That always happens to every team. If the World Cup was today, what we had is our best. Those are mostly our best players. So, and Belgium was also missing guys. They were missing Trossard. That's their best forward. Lukaku's not in form.
We had our best players in the first half. Did we really have our best players in the second half?
No. I mean, I would hope Pochettino's not going to make those subs, but he did. Can you guarantee to me right now that he's not going to sub in Roldan, Berhalter, and Arfsten in the World Cup? Can you guarantee me? You can't. Nope. It can happen. It's crazy, but it can happen. So
I'm trying to find silver linings here.
The first half. That's the only thing. The positive.
Yes. Yeah. Literally the only thing. That this solidified Freese's spot. I think we start Freese against Portugal, and after that we see. I don't know that there's really a big gap. I think whatever happens, we're gonna go with a goalkeeper that we're not so excited about. Like there's no way to feel like any of these guys goalkeepers are going to be reliable, and it's a big weakness.
Was Turner back today? He made some saves. People are forgetting that too.
He made some saves. I don't think you never felt like, oh, if we needed a big time save from Matt Turner to keep it 0-0 or whatever, he would do it. I never felt that. I think he did what was expected of him, but he was not outstanding. And his passing was a disaster. Did you see him pass the ball out the field in the second half with under no pressure? Look, why didn't Poch play a back three? Like I said earlier, the only reason he might not have played a back three is because he didn't feel like he had someone to anchor it with Chris Richards out. I still think you play a back three in that situation. That's just my personal opinion. Should we try to draw the positives from this outside of individual player performances?
I mean, we talked about, okay, want to get into, let's do it this way. Let's not use like the negatives as positives. You know what I'm saying? Like this guy got exposed.
Yeah, we can't say this guy was bad, so Poch won't bring him again because we don't know if that's a positive.
Yeah, that's not a positive. If we're going to go to the positives, let's go into the first half and let's look at the specific points that were positives in the first half. Trying to think of positives here. I thought Weston McKennie was a big positive. Not the individual performance on its own, right? Because that we'll talk about during the player ratings. but Weston McKennie's role in the team. I think it became pretty damn clear of what Pochettino wants him to be in this team, an attacking midfielder with a lot of freedom to roam. I thought he was good combining. He was goal dangerous. Second half wasn't good, but no one was good. I can hear myself there. Does everyone else hear that too?
Is that all of a sudden?
No, that's been happening with yours. It's probably you don't have like the echo cancellation on. Check that.
How about now?
Hello, 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 hello. I don't hear myself. Looks good. Looks good. So back to what I was saying. I think Weston McKennie's role in the starting 11 is pretty well defined now. And using the first half, which the positives are all going to be from the first half, I thought that was a positive. It's like I thought he played well in that role. He showed he's goal dangerous because he could have had a brace in the first half, like he is with Juventus. So I'll go with that as the first one.
I'll follow up with Johnny. I mean, I think that Johnny was not outstanding today, but he did a good job of, building through that midfield and being generally reliable. Like he didn't make any mistakes. He did the job that a 6 in a double pivot is supposed to do. Help build out from the back, and he had some very good passes into the final third. Why he was pulled at halftime, I don't know, unless there was an injury concern, unless it was a pre-planned minutes thing. I don't know what it was, but I think he did enough in this game to say I should be on that roster for the World Cup at the very least, right?
I guess that's a positive because also, I mean, it wasn't only because of that, but clearly there was a drop off in switching Johnny with Roldan in the overall team. I
Yes.
mean, anyone that argues against that, like we started to leak goals. Johnny's not the savior there, but one thing is true: a chain is only as strong as your weak link, and the more weak links Pochettino started to throw in that field, the worse we looked. It wasn't a coincidence, right?
No.
Trying to think of another positive here from the first half. The overall performance in the first half obviously is a positive. We showed we could go toe to toe with a top team, with a good team. Dude, it's a little difficult, isn't it?
I know. It's you start to go, yeah, like overall the team played quite well that first half. That's really the positive, right? That's it. The team played well first half. We went toe to toe with Belgium. We actually created more than them. We had a little bit of a struggle with that getting isolated against Doku situation that we could have done better with. But overall, it really was a very positive first half. And that is what makes this so hard to swallow because people are going to look at the scoreline and go, we suck. We're not even close to Belgium. Actually, with our full team, we are. And we showed that first half. Brett saying Turner wasn't bad today. Just the first one was blockable. You mean the first goal, like savable and horrible passing? Okay, maybe he wasn't great now that I think about it, but not horrible. Yeah,
No, he wasn't horrible.
I think he just played to his level. I don't think he was horrible either. I think he played to his level. I don't know that Fries is better, and if he is, it's marginal. That's kind of how I feel about that. Weston, Weah, and Robinson played very well, I thought. Agreed. Pepe gets credit for that goal. Yeah, for doing the pressing. McKenzie, no obvious mistakes. I will say both McKenzie and Weah got beat at times by Doku, but I don't know if that's a mistake or just like everyone's going to get beat by Doku. I mean, he plays for Manchester City, right?
No, and he beats players in the Premier League. Like that happens.
He beats players in the Premier League. It's going to happen. It's Poch's job as the coach to make sure we can cover for that situation, and today he didn't do that. So that's on Poch more than McKenzie or on what USMNT player starts for Belgium? It's a great question. I think Pulisic would start for them.
Not this version.
I mean, not this version of Pulisic, but Pulisic, like when he's playing well at the level that he usually is at, I think he would start for them. Over Salamakers, you don't think Pulisic is better than
No,
Salamakers?
he would, but the way he's
He would
playing,
start for them. But today, Pulisic his confidence is definitely down, and we need him to get it back for sure.
I have one more positive actually from the first half when we had set pieces and it wasn't Pulisic taking it, like A-Rob and Tillman. We had a few dangerous set pieces, right? One was a goal, but we had some good set pieces. So if we can take advantage of that more often, and also if we can get like Chris Richards in the box, that's a good player to find. I think the set pieces if we can build off what we were doing in the first half, that's something we can use and need in the World Cup.
Yeah, no, I agree. Poch had Greg-like game management today. Ugh. Yeah. No, absolutely. This was very Greg levels from Pochettino for sure. No question about it. Yeah, and as far as this one, like I said, Pulisic would start. Honestly, Balogun would start over Lukaku.
Mm-hmm.
Balogun would start over Lukaku for sure. Lukaku's not even playing in Italy. Balogun would start. Pulisic would start. Richards would not start. I don't think he would be in the roster, but I think it would be Thiat and De Winters or De Bast and Arthur Thiat. Goalkeepers, no. Fullbacks, no. I don't think any of the fullbacks would start. In the double pivot, would Johnny start in the double pivot for Belgium? Not over Onana.
And then Tielemans would be the other, so probably not.
No, so not Johnny. So about 3 guys. But listen, you can look at the level that way and say, yeah, but then in the first half, we played very level with them, right? So it's like, I don't know. We do have a quick word from our sponsor. And this stream is sponsored by FanDuel. Let me pull up their sports book here. They right now, when it comes to soccer, they only cover the Premier League, right? So we can look at the Premier League. They'll probably have something there for the World Cup guys. But if you look at their Premier League coverage, it's funny they don't have international, but like it's the same. Arsenal, Bournemouth. Do I think Bournemouth is going to win at Arsenal? Probably not, but 650 is an interesting bet. The one that I think is probably most interesting is Fulham at Liverpool. I would put $5 on Fulham at Liverpool because that's a plus 480. Liverpool haven't been in the greatest form, so that I would give a try to. Other than that, I don't see Leeds at Man United. I can't see it. Those are the only 2 that I would put any money on. And as I always say, guys, bet responsibly if you're going to. This is a $5 thing that you put on to make a little money, to have some fun, make the game more interesting. Don't go betting the house or the car or even hundreds or thousands of dollars, okay? Now, let's see here. Pulisic was bad today. Let's talk about this because, and I talked a little bit about this in the preview, Pulisic has always been a very streaky player. When he's confident and on fire, everything comes off for him. And when he's not confident, when he's in bad form, usually it's after he's coming back from an injury. If you noticed, he'll have a niggling injury that will affect his performances, and then those performances will have an impact on his confidence, which will further affect his performances. That's the Pulisic we're dealing with right now. I'm not super worried if he can find form with Milan before we get to the World Cup. But if he doesn't, then I have real concerns. Because when he does that, when he's not confident, that's when he starts playing hero ball as well. And it gets even worse for him. He is very much like it's there or it's not. There's no middle ground with Pulisic. There's no like he played reasonably well today without being outstanding. He's either outstanding or missing from the game. And for all of our hope, for all of our sake, let's hope he finds that form again with Milan. He didn't look happy today. Did you see when he was subbed? He was brooding on the bench. And I don't know exactly what he was mad about, but he should have really been mad at himself.
He's not playing well today.
No.
I thought he could have been subbed even earlier. So,
oh yeah, easily. Tac and Yank, what do we need to do to change this team around? Who needs to start and who is the sub-in? What are we going to do to win the World Cup? Well, Jeremy, forget about winning the World Cup for any time soon. But we will, after we do player ratings, we're going to talk about the Portugal game, Tac, and talk about who we should probably start in that Portugal game and how. What's the future for the USMNT if they get grouped or if they have decent World Cup? If even that happens, I mean, the future is the same. Like, nothing's going to change if they get grouped. Poch is going to be gone regardless, right? I don't think Poch is sticking around. My guess is after the World Cup, whether we get grouped or whether we make a deep run, Poch, they're going to hire some MLS coach, is my guess. They're going to go with I don't know, Brian Schmetzer, Steve Cherundolo, Wilfred Nancy, one of these guys, maybe BJ Callahan. Honestly, if you have to go MLS coach, he would probably be my choice. Mm-hmm. But none of the MLS coaches are very good. And Wilfred Nancy, to be honest, what happened at Celtic should rule him out from ever taking the USMNT job until he goes and proves himself in Europe, because that just showed the level.
Materazzo, but I don't think they're going to get him.
Well, Matarazzo just started at Sociedad, so I don't think he's going to want to leave Sociedad now, right? And he's doing well, right? He wants to probably have a full season with Sociedad. Carlos, thank you for the super chat. Should we bunker against these level teams? When we play straight up, we get slaughtered. To be honest, first half, we kind of did bunker. It was mostly Belgium who had the ball and mostly us that were sitting back. Like, we didn't full on bunker, but we did sit in a very low block in the first half. Our counterattacking was terrible, though. If you're going to do that, you need a counterattacking option. And we didn't really have that.
Pete, can I just debunk one guy? You see Thomas Bay 8292. He said, "You guys are nuts. You need to give Pulisic the ball more. So small-minded. Did you not watch the game?" So, Thomas, hopefully you did watch the game. Out of the midfielders and forwards, and I'm getting echoing again. You got it? Out of the midfielders and forwards, guess who had the most touches? Christian Pulisic. Okay. And he was subbed out in the 71st minute. So was Tillman. So Tillman, for example, he had 37 touches. Christian Pulisic had 41. Weston McKennie had 33. McKennie.
And can I butt in real quick? One of the reasons Pulisic had so many touches is because he took too many touches. He would receive the ball and then take 12 touches before passing it, and it would kill attacking momentum. Because every time he gets that ball, he hangs on to it. It allows Belgium to readjust their shape. You tear teams open by moving the ball quickly. Anyways.
Yeah. My point is he had enough touches, so that's not the excuse. Okay. Like, statistically speaking, you're wrong. Whether you watch the game or not, we can get into a different discussion, but there you go.
Yeah. Guys, a couple more here, I believe. Oh, no. All right. Let's start doing player performances, player ratings, and then we'll get into what now? What do we do against Portugal? Because we cannot lose to Portugal.
Surrender. We surrender.
No, we're not French. Come on. We have to find a way to pick ourselves up and fight back and get a result against Portugal. That's what champions do, or not even champions, teams that make a deep run. They don't lie around after getting punched in the nose, right? We have to figure out what to do now, but we'll get to that. Let's start with player ratings, and then we'll get into that. Matt Turner, and I think this is going to be controversial. Would you like to start, or do you want me to start?
You want me to start? I like pressure.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I live on a daily basis under pressure because I am taller and better looking than Tom Cruise. So I'll take this one from you. Echoing again, Pete, by the way. So if you go to your settings, you can put the echo cancellation. It's on.
It's okay. Cancellation is on. I'm just muting myself when I'm not talking, and that's what's helping.
That works. I'm going to give Matt Turner a 6 out of 10. So I would say an above average performance. I think that the first goal was savable, but it's also not a goal where I'm like, oh, this was a terrible mistake. He made a few clutch saves here and there, including the one where before the penalty kick that was going to go in with Tim Ream's deflection. He made a few saves later. I'll give him a 6. And the other goals, like a penalty kick, the shots, none of them were like, you have to save that. Some of them, like one or two, you could say you could save that. A Tim Howard would have saved that. So I'll give him a 6 out of 10. So slightly above average. I don't think he was a bad performer today.
I'm going to be slightly less generous. I'm going to give him a 5 because I think he made the saves that you would expect any goalkeeper to make, apart from maybe that Tim Ream one. But his passing was terrible. And again, like, I think if you're going to be above average, 6 is above average. I can't give him more than average at best. And I think we should start Matt Fries in the Portugal game, just to be clear. I'll go first on Tim Weah. I thought that Tim Weah was very good in the first half, mostly, until he got beat by Doku around the 40th minute. I think he did a good job of playing right back. He got involved in the attack. He had that cross to Pulisic. I think he tried his best for who he is as a player. But obviously getting beat by Doku is not great, but then a lot of players get beat by Doku at this level. Like, I just don't think he's going to be a guy that can lock down a player like Doku. I'm going to give Tim Weah a 6.5. No one's going to get a high score in this game. I'm just going to be honest.
Yeah, we almost need to do like a first half rating and a second half rating. I would say for Weah, if it was just the first half, I'm echoing again, by the way. For Tim Weah, if it was just the first half, he probably would get like a 7 or a 7.5. He had a few dangerous moments going, supporting the offense, some dangerous crosses, and he was doing a good job on containing Doku to the best of his ability, besides towards the end of the first half, but mostly good. Second half is a weird one because it is a complete shit show. So everyone's rating tanks in the second one. I'm going to give Weah the same rating as Turner. He was a bit, his highs were higher than Turner, but his lows were a bit lower, right? So I'll give Turner a 6.
You mean Weah?
Yeah, Weah. Sorry, I gave Turner 6 and Weah 6.
Okay. You go first on McKenzie.
McKenzie's an interesting one. He had one bad giveaway in the first half, which was a bad pass into midfield. Outside of that, he wasn't as involved on the ball as like Tim Ream, for example, when we were playing out of the back. I believe I even checked here. Tim Ream had 91 touches. McKenzie had 70. That's 20 touches less. That's a lot. But I don't remember McKenzie making any major mistakes. Probably one or two of those goals, especially in the second half, he was probably involved in the mess. But also he didn't stand out, right? You leak 5 goals. It's kind of hard to defend you. I'm going to give McKenzie a 5. It could be generous. I probably have to rewatch, but I just don't remember him being a complete disaster. I remember Tim Ream, which we're going to talk about soon. I'll give McKenzie a 5. I'm willing to change my opinion on a rewatch. I need to rewatch the goals. But from the top of my head, it wasn't terrible. I'll give him a 5.
No, I'm actually with you, and I'm going to give him a 5 too. And I think that's generous considering the result. Like if you're in a back line that concedes 5 goals, I think 5 is generous, and it's only because I don't think a lot of those goals are necessarily his fault. Right? You have to be objective. The first one is from distance. That's not on McKenzie. Right? The second goal, look, he was the one who got isolated against Doku in that way, and he didn't really get beat. Right? He actually kind of got beat, but what happened then?
He deflected the cross.
Huh?
He was able to get his foot on the cross.
Yes. And then it was passed back, and then they scored from there because Roldan was caught in no man's land ball watching. So that's not on him. The third goal was all Arfsten. Arfsten just stood there and allowed him to score. He got beat, and then it's a great strike from distance. Fourth goal, no, the third one was a penalty.
That was the fourth
goal was on Arfsten. Fifth goal, I don't even remember.
Tim Ream, Roldan, and Berhalter.
Yeah, so not on McKenzie, to be honest. None of these goals are really on McKenzie, and I'd like to see him try something else. You go. Wait, I'm first on Arfsten. No, A-Rob.
Ream.
Oh, Ream. 2.
Yeah.
Enough said. One second. Can
Can
you talk about Ream? I have to take this. Just talk for 1 minute.
Yes. So, well, he already gave Tim Ream a 2. I'm just going to give Tim Ream a 2 as well. And I'm kind of talking to myself, which is a bit odd because normally I'm talking to Pete. But I'll give Tim Ream a 2 and not a 1. I see some of you giving him a retire or giving him a 1. If there's one thing I'll compliment Tim Ream is he did pick a few good passes. He was heavily involved in possession. We were looking for him quite a bit. And even the play where McKennie set up Pulisic, Tim Ream found McKennie very well in the midfield, and McKennie hit a one-touch pass to Pulisic that drove the ball forward and didn't really have a good finish. So for that reason, because Tim Ream was actually fine on the ball, I'll give him a 2. The problem is when you're a defender, your primary role is to defend, right? Being good on the ball is your second job in this case for some center backs, just like goalkeeper, right? If Matt Turner is garbage on the ball with his feet, but he makes many saves, he can get a 9, he can get a 10 rating if he doesn't concede goals. So for that reason, I give Tim Ream a 2. So Pete, I explained the 2 was he was abysmal defending, made many mistakes, conceded a penalty kick, was involved in the 5th goal, made a weird mistake in the beginning. But Tim Ream on the ball, he wasn't that bad. So I gave him 1 point for that. So I gave him a 2 instead of a 1 because I was close to giving him a 1. And now we can go to A-Rob.
I think before we go to A-Rob, we need to talk about Tim Ream as he cannot start in a World Cup. He cannot. The best thing I can do, I can concede to Tim Ream, is if there are 10 minutes left and we're 2-0 up against an Australia, maybe he can come on and help settle the game and his experience and leadership. But even then, I would be nervous about him getting beat or making an awful mistake like he did today. Like, Tim Ream is bad, but he's even worse than I thought. Today showed that, right?
Haven't Charlotte fans been complaining about him?
Yes, he's not even good in him and Miles. They're not even good in MLS anymore. And Ream's our captain, and Poch just seems to be okay with that. He's just like, yeah, Ream's the captain. That means he's going to start every game at a World Cup. We're going to get destroyed. Like, he got smoked early on in the game, and then I'm just, oh my god.
That's because Doku also wasn't on his side.
Yes, if Doku had been on Ream's side, it would have been 7, 8, 9, 10, 0. It could have gotten to double figures. All right, A-Rob. You go first on A-Rob then.
A-Rob was very good in the first half.
Well, yeah, he was.
He was very good in the first half. Not just the assist. He got the assist for the corner kick on Weston McKennie, finding Weston McKennie, but he was combining. So we were very heavy towards the left in the first half with Pulisic playing hero ball. But within that, while Pulisic was poor, A-Rob was actually quite good. And on defense, he was rock solid. Mind you, he wasn't as tested as Weah because Doku was on the other side. But on defense, no complaints for him in the first half. And he was good going forward. Probably I would have given him in the first half an 8. Probably. And then in the second half, eventually he got subbed out for Arfsten.
Arfsten gives up the goal. Instantly.
Yeah. I wouldn't say A-Rob was terrible in the second half by any means. So I think giving A-Rob a 7.5, just a little bit of a drop-off, I think that's fair.
Yeah, I'm giving him a 7. I'm giving him a 7. And to be honest, I think 7 is the most one of the most generous, it's definitely probably among top 2 most generous ratings I'm going to give today. I'm going to go first on Johnny. Johnny played the first half. I thought he was decent to good without being outstanding. Like, I don't think he did anything that really... He had one really nice pass. I don't even know if you remember this. In the first half, right before the half ended to Weah, he received the ball in midfield, quite deep, and he put the perfect ball into Tim Weah's pass. Mm-hmm. Other than that, I thought he did his job. He received the ball. The only thing I didn't like is when Johnny was getting dragged out to go help tackle Doku and then leaving spaces there. But I don't think that's a Johnny problem. Tessman had the same issue. I think that was a tactical setup problem. And so I'm going to give him a 6.5 today, or 6.
Yeah, I'll go with the 6. I mean, he played his role, and clearly there was a drop-off once he was out. I mean, anyone that wants to argue that, look at the result. A lot changed. We conceded 2 goals right away in the second half, right? So it's not like the other side. It was literally, we were collapsing just with the Roldan sub already. And then the other ones came in and it got worse. So anyone that says, no, it was all the other, no, like literally we conceded 2 goals right away as it started. So yeah, I think 6 is fair for Johnny. Hopefully he starts again against Portugal. And if he plays like that again, he's a roster lock for the World Cup, and he'll probably be competing with Tessman for the starting job, where Tyler will very likely be the starter, and Tessman and Johnny will compete for the other one.
You go first on Tessman. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts on Tessman.
Trying to remember much from Tessman. I think there's a lot of similarities with like Johnny's performance in terms of like playing his role in the first half. Played his role, was dropping deep, playing as a center back in possession, playing as a midfielder in the defensive shape. Second half, it's kind of hard to I think Tessman will get a 5.5 and Johnny gets a 6 just because Tessman was there in the second half. And everyone in the second half loses something.
I also don't think Tessman did anything about his distribution that usually he's quite good at. Mm-hmm. It's kind of sucks because this would have been the perfect opportunity to see Tessman play that right center back spot. And instead, he didn't. We went to a 4-2-3-1, and it just did not work. Like a complete disaster. I will give Tessman a 6 also. I just don't think this, maybe 5.5. Not terrible, not great. Let's go into the attack now, and I'm going to give Pulisic a 2. Maybe that's harsh, but he is the best player on this team.
Is it harsh? Is it harsh?
No, I don't think so. He's the best player on this team. And it wasn't just that he was playing badly. It's that he was killing momentum. The ball would get to Pulisic, and whatever attacking momentum that we had created, it was just, you could stop. Even in midfield, he would take it, turn, half turn, half turn, half turn. You can't go anywhere. There's a defender on your back. Lay it off and go make a run. And I've said, or I talked about him, but I'm giving him a 2.
Why not give him a 1? That's my question. Like, what did he do positive?
There were a few moments. I mean, he created a very good chance for himself. And it was like Pulisic beating 2 or 3 players and then skying it. And you're like, oh my God. I don't think a 1 would be unfair, but, you know, he wasn't responsible for goals that we gave up back
Yeah,
line.
I'll go with the 2 because I don't feel like arguing this, but it was just he was one of the worst performers alongside Tim Ream. He was.
Yeah. And you have to hold him to a high standard too, because of who he is. Um, Weston McKennie, one of the bright spots. You go first on McKennie.
Yeah, first half similar to what I talked about Anthony Robinson. I thought he was quite good in the first half. Like if it was the first half on its own, especially with the goal, almost had a brace, was combining well, he probably would have gotten an 8. Again, everyone that played in the second half, you have to drop some points because no one was good. Now, Pochettino made this sub. Sure, but no one was good in the second half. So I'll give McKinney a 7, mostly because of the first half.
Yeah. Let's talk about Tillman. And by the way, I'm going to give McKennie a 7.5 because of the goal, and I thought he was good, whatever. For me, Tillman was very quiet. I know in the first half, I didn't really see much from him. You saw A-Rob creating, Weah creating, McKennie creating, Pulisic being shit, Balogun trying to make those runs, trying to make something happen. I don't think Tillman was bad. I just think he was quiet. I think he was safe with his passing, but he didn't show up in space and take control of the game the way you would want a creative midfielder to do. And I don't even remember him on the ball. That's how forgettable he was. And if your job is to be a creative fulcrum next to Pulisic and McKennie, you need to do more than that. I'm going to give Tillman a 4.
Tillman's an interesting one because everyone thinks he's a playmaker, but every time I watch him, he's more like a goal scoring threat for Leverkusen or even for the US. He doesn't give any assists. He doesn't play make, even for PSV. He doesn't play make. I didn't think he was terrible. I thought even in the first half, he was steady on the ball, didn't make many mistakes, helped on defense. Second half, abysmal. Not abysmal, sorry. Mainly like bad, like most of the players in this team. I think I'll give him a 4.5. It was close to bang average. I didn't think he was terrible at any moment. His set pieces in the first half were decent to good. Tillman.
Yeah,
And I
didn't he
hope,
create the set piece that McKennie didn't score on?
yes, it was deflected and then went towards him. So I'll give Tillman a 4.5. It wasn't great, but not terrible.
Would you start? Let's talk about the Portugal game later. Let's go to Balogun now. I want to give Balogun a 5 because as a striker, I don't think he got the ball. I think he made the right runs. I think Pulisic missed the runs that he made a couple of times. He won the corner that we scored from just sheerly through putting pressure on the defender. It was not a great performance from Balogun, but I don't think it was Balogun's fault. I think that Balogun was just completely starved of service today. I also think that in a 4-3-3, we're so much better when you have 2 creative midfielders right behind Balogun feeding him instead of isolating him. I'm sorry, I meant a 3-4-2-1. In a 4-2-3-1, he's a little bit isolated. And part of that is the formation, and part of that was Pulisic. I don't think we got him a lot of service.
Yeah, Balogun had 14 touches the whole game. Played 70 minutes. So
And I don't think that was his fault. Like, he was not like he was not moving or demanding the ball. I'll give him a 5 because it's very hard to judge a player who never gets the ball.
Yeah, it's tough to like deduct points from him. He didn't really do anything wrong. Pulisic was ball hogging when he would get the ball, take too many touches. And Balogun also comes down to how you utilize him, right? We talked about how Balogun is a transition player. He's a counter-attacking player. He makes those runs, and you need someone that puts a quick through ball, or you steal the ball and he's making those runs. That's when he's dangerous. He's not a hold-up center forward. He can score poacher-like goals, but he's not a poacher. And we didn't really do any of that, right? We would get the ball, Pulisic would ball hog. No one would put a through ball. There was no one trying to play make. So it becomes hard to criticize his game. I'll give him a 5 too because I didn't think he did anything wrong. He hit a shot on target, didn't he? Yeah, he hit a nice shot in the first half.
In the first half, he had that one shot.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'll say a 5.
and it was a good shot too from distance under pressure. Yeah, I think 5 is fair. 5.5 for Balogun. Really not his fault. Whatever happened today. Let's get into the substitutes now. The first one was Roldan. No, yeah, the first one was Roldan for Johnny. I'm giving him a 3. Like, not as bad as Tim Ream, but almost. Like, did nothing. Did you see that pass where he tried to like pass it and he just gave it straight to the Belgium guy, like under no pressure? He received the ball on the half turn, looks forward. I think he was looking for Tim Weah, and he just passed, and there was no US player around. I think he was DeBust, and he just gave it straight to DeBust. He was also partially responsible on the second goal that we conceded. That's where the crumble started.
And the 5th goal, yeah.
And the 5th goal. For me, that's 3. How does Poch call this guy the perfect player? And he's there getting hyped up, right? Go to the Super Bowl representing the US men's national team. He's always talking. He's always chirping to the media about this is what I bring to the team. And I yell at Cristian Pulisic, and I sit next to Cristian Pulisic on the plane, and I demand standards from everybody. Bro, what standards? You're terrible.
I think with Roldan, the problem is like when we say that he was poor, just not good, there's always going to be the guys that are saying that you're just hating and that he didn't make any like huge mistakes, which to a certain extent that can be true. But Roldan doesn't offer anything. That's the problem. It's a liability, right? And him just getting the ball and making the most basic, simple pass possible every single time. Echo. Yeah, every single time, him just like doing the most, like he gets the ball. He holds it for 2 seconds, then he passes it sideways to the guy that's already marked on the left because he can't do anything else, right? It's just that. It's just a mediocre player that doesn't really offer anything. Like, I'll give him a 3 also. He wasn't as bad as Ream. Honestly, he wasn't even as bad as Pulisic. Even though we hold Pulisic to a higher standard, he wasn't bad. But he just doesn't really offer anything on the field. That's the reality. Besides some very basic, simple passes that I fully expect a national team professional soccer player to make. So that's all it is.
Yeah.
And listen, guys, if he looked out of his depth there, and we're going to talk about Arfsten and Berhalter, which was even worse, it doesn't get easier in the World Cup. It gets worse. So it's just that. I'm just going to give Roldan a 3. And then let me look here because I think Pete went to get headphones. I don't know where Pete went.
Yeah, I'm just going to grab some headphones, but keep talking.
Well, this one today we can just finish like this for the next one. Just who's next now after Roldan? Sorry, Roldan, yeah.
It would be Berhalter. So, okay, a bunch of subs came on. Berhalter, Freeman, and Arfsten all came on simultaneously. I'm giving both Berhalter and Arfsten a 2 because they were both responsible for at least 2 goals. And they only played like just over half an hour. They played like 35 minutes and gave up 2 goals apiece.
And offered nothing going forward.
Zero. Berhalter, by the way, everyone's like, but his set pieces. Did you see the set piece he did? Went way over everybody's head and almost went out the other side. And to be fair, he has been good at the pass at set pieces. I don't know what that was today. And then he set up the 4th goal. It came to him. All he had to do was clear it, but he backheeled it to, who was it in the box? Was it Tielemans? The 4th goal?
No, not Tielemans. It was the other guy in the midfield. Forgot his name. It wasn't Tielemans.
Yeah, it was
Onana?
Luca Bacchio. Give me your thoughts on those two real quick. I'm going to go get headphones.
Yeah, I'm going to give Berhalter and Arfsten a 2 because I just don't feel like it. Arfsten, everyone talks about how he offers so much going forward. He offered nothing going forward today. He couldn't beat anyone, didn't get a cross right, nothing. On defense, he was at fault. What was the goal that Pete said again? The 4th one, I believe, was all on Arfsten. And I think the 5th one, he was involved. It was on his side, at least the 5th one. So to a certain extent, there's some involvement there. Just completely useless, out of his depth. And again, this is not even the World Cup. So when the World Cup shows up, Arfsten will look like a Shaquille Moore. His step overs, they're not going to work. Those lucky crosses like the one he hit to Zendejas, he's not going to get in a position to do one. Defensively, he'll get exposed. And let me remind you that Arfsten was at fault for 1 to 2 goals, and he was not playing with Doku on him. So that was the weak side of Belgium. I just want to add that too, which is kind of important when we talk about, but Weah got beat. Yes, he was playing against their best winger. Okay? He wasn't Arfsten. And in regards to Sebastian Berhalter, again, he's a guy that looks like he loves the national team. He tries very hard. He plays tough. He's a tough guy, but he just looks out of his depth. It just doesn't look like it's his level. Now that's not his fault. Like, he's not the one playing himself. But it is what it is. You got to call a spade, and he didn't play well. And the other one was Alex Freeman. Alex Freeman, I'll go more towards like a 4.5. I didn't see anything
Yeah,
good,
I don't think
anything
he was
bad.
terrible. He played right back, and honestly, he really looked very cumbersome on the ball. Like very cumbersome, to my opinion. Like not going to offer anything. I still want to see Alex Freeman tried at right center back against Portugal. I just want to see it. Go back to the 3-4-2-1, and we'll talk about that now, or in just a second at least. Guys, I'm also going to read all your super chats because I think we have Guest and Weah who can play right wing back. I don't think we need Freeman there. I think we need him to step into that back line. What are your thoughts? The last ones were Scally, Pepe, Agyemang, and Gio. Those are the four who came on together.
So very quickly on those, you can rate them if you want to, and I think like Pepe and Ajiman deserve credit because the game was over, it was 5-1, but Pepe was still pressing and Ajiman finished the chance that he had. But it's kind of hard to rate those. They got like 20 minutes, but it was when the game was what 4-1. Belgium was putting reserves. They put a 17-year-old on the field. They put Tielemans that made the mistake for the goal, and Tielemans he was out for like 3 months and he played like 10 minutes for Aston Villa. So it's hard to rate. I'm not going to rate them. I'm just going to give Gio didn't get many touches. Scally, I don't even remember. I'm just going to give props to Pepe and Ajiman because Pepe pressed and got the assist, and Ajiman finished the opportunity that he had. So that's all I'm going to do for those.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that Gio is not going to be good against a team like this necessarily. I probably still want to see him against Portugal because I want to know. I think Gio has showed he's good against the bunkering teams. Against a team like Belgium or Portugal, I'm not convinced he can do it. But did anybody convince that they could do it? I'm not so sure. I want to talk about. It's Poch now. Poch is a 1, right? Screwed up the formation, right? Or went with the wrong formation, in my opinion. And then when we were being competitive, destroyed the game with his substitutions, destroyed it completely. I don't think you can have any kind of anything positive if you really think that putting Arfsten, Roldan, and Berhalter, and even Ream on the field is ever going to do anything. Someone says, Pete, your mic is not on. It's the computer. That's a great question. Let me try now. Does that sound different?
Oh, yeah. Now I noticed it.
Oh, there we go.
It wasn't bad before, just the echo, but now it's much better.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, that's a 1 for Poch. Poch needs to fix it against Portugal, and let's talk about that game. But first, I'm going to read the super chats.
I'm just going to say one thing. I'm giving Pochettino a 1.5. I'm giving him a 0.5 because I thought the starting 11 was good.
Fair. I miss Richards so much. Is he injured? Yes, he's injured. We don't know if he's going to be back for the Portugal game. It seems like he might not be there for the Portugal game either. And to be honest, I don't think we should risk it. Like, do you think we should risk Richards if he's having knee issues? We can't risk that for a World Cup, guys. I would not start Richards. Thanks for covering the game. You rock. Also, Tac, my son wonders if you like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh more.
Pokemon. I do like Yu-Gi-Oh too, but only like very old school Yu-Gi-Oh. I mean, my whole background is Pokemon. I have collectibles from Japan. I have card games. I have a lot of collectibles for Pokemon. There's more stuff here. So Pokemon number 1, but I do like Yu-Gi-Oh.
This is the exact same mistake of defense that we got eliminated by the Dutch. Deku was schooling on the left side, and we learned nothing. You mean Doku. And we learned nothing from it. Yeah, we just didn't have a backup if somebody got beat. Was at the game, 66K fans, 90% USA fans, and a total second half disaster class. The Roldan sub destroyed the midfield balance. Yeah, absolutely. Not just the Roldan sub, but all of the subs after that.
It kept getting worse, right?
It kept getting worse. The more of these guys he brought on, the worse and worse it got. Was live at the game for this disaster. Asterclass. Asterclass is good. Also, we will be getting grouped if we keep playing like this in the World Cup. I don't think we're getting grouped, guys. There's no Belgium in our group, number 1.
And
number
3
2,
advanced, maybe 3. So
3 almost likely advanced. I'm not worried about us, getting grouped. I'm worried about what happens after that, especially if we keep bringing these MLS.
Well, just to say
one
thing. I'm not too concerned about getting grouped. I'm concerned about not finishing first in our group, because if we don't finish first, we face I think Argentina or someone like right at the round of 16. So after the first knockout round, and we could even face a tough team in the first one. So us having any tiny little chance of making a quarterfinals run, it really relies on us finishing first. And the way we're playing, I'm not concerned about getting grouped, but I also don't like our odds of topping the group the way we played.
No.
Even though Turkey looked like crap too, dude. Turkey didn't look good.
They didn't look as bad as us.
No, not as bad, but look at who they played.
Yeah.
Romania.
Yeah. Let's see how they look against Kosovo. We need to figure out how to develop a bunch of high-level players consistently already, the way France does, to really compete. Yeah, this is a big topic. We've covered it a couple of times, but it's a lot of the same issues: pay to play, MLS, lack of culture, the people who run the game in this country. There's a lot of different reasons. I'm not going to get into all of that right now. We've covered that many, many times, and we'll continue to cover it. If there was a game that showed Poch to stick to the 3-4-2-1, it was today. Agreed. Why didn't Poch play it back? Oh, no, I read all of these. Let me go back to the end. Albert, Rocco. Guys, don't panic. We'll just call in our 4 horsemen of the fecal apocalypse. Zardes, Long, Leggett, and Areola. All will kneel before them. Thank you, Carlos, for that. We needed it. Christopher Lund, Brian Reynolds, Busio, Yunus Musa, Donovan Pines.
Did you see that Leggett is back with Becky G? I thought they had broken up.
I don't know if they ever broke up, or it was just like there was issues because of what he did.
He cheated,
also, what did
right?
he really do? I don't know if he cheated or he flirted with a girl.
I thought he cheated, and he even apologized. Like they made it public for some reason. I think he apologized publicly.
It wasn't clear what he did though. Didn't he just like flirt with someone I don't remember.
Honestly. That's it. That's why he was apologizing publicly.
Because he did it in public and it was caught on video. I don't know, man. I'm so far past legit. It's like, okay, Christopher Lund, Brian Reynolds. Yeah, we got this. Thank you. Oh, no. Sorry. Players that start or get some minutes. Guys, Donovan Pines, you're out of your mind. What are you saying? Musa has been terrible, but let's be honest, Tac. Would you prefer Musa over Roldan, Berhalter? Yes. At least Musa didn't make basic errors like this.
I'll just say it again. Musa will not. He might do poorly, but he's not going to look out of his depth in the World Cup.
Yes, agreed. Brian Reynolds, I don't think. Look, Brian Reynolds is not. Tim Weah and Dest are both getting minutes at much higher levels than Brian Reynolds. Lund, you could make an argument. Is he better than Arfsten? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, he's playing in the Bundesliga, clearly. I don't think it's going to be a massive difference having a Lund versus Arfsten. That's just my honest opinion. Busio is playing well in the second division of Italy, guys. That's worse than MLS. Like, let's be honest.
But he's probably better than Berhalter. He was better,
but he doesn't play the same position as Berhalter.
No, we don't need either one. You have Aiden Morris doing much better in a tougher league. But I'm just saying, like, if you're playing Berhalter and Roldan, there's a place for Busio.
It's kind of wild that Morris got no minutes today.
None.
Not a single minute. Let's talk about Portugal now. This is what I would do against Portugal, and you tell me if you agree or disagree. Matt Friesen in goal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just something different. Back three. Here's my offering. Austin Trusty on the left, Mark McKenzie in the middle, Alex Freeman on the right.
No Tessman?
You could, but then do you put Tessman? You can't play Tessman on the left, so you'd have to play him on the right. If you play him on the right, where do you put Freeman? Basically, it's Tessman or Freeman. Who would you rather see?
Oh, I would just put McKenzie on the right, and I'll put Tessman as a central center back, at least to start the game, just to test it out. Like, this camp is destroyed anyway. Like, we embarrassed ourselves already. I might as well try something that could be useful in the World Cup. So I would probably go
tough
Tessman.
Ask against Portugal to put your first into the center of midfield, and you're out of position, and you're up against Portugal.
Just go all in. If he holds his own, we're good to go.
Someone said I heard Morris was doing donuts in the golf cart. Okay. And then I would still start both Weah and A-Rob at wing back. Wouldn't change anything there. Yeah. For midfield, I would go, this is going to be tough. I would go Johnny for sure. I think I would put McKennie there. It's either Johnny and McKennie or Johnny and Morris, and then you put McKennie next to Pulisic in front of Balogun.
I would do Johnny and Morris, and then I would put McKennie and Pulisic, and then Balogun up top That's what I would do.
And then you bring on Gio or whoever, maybe later in the game.
And Pepe as a center forward at some point. You bring also Tillman off the bench at some point if you need him. So I would probably do that.
Yeah. This is the truth. That's what we would do, guys.
Can I just say one thing? Ajiman got minutes. Berhalter got minutes. Roldan got minutes. And here's a player that I'm not even a big fan, but he's been grinding for years and playing okay for Leeds. Like Arfsten got 0 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
It's not a hill I'm willing to die on, but you'd think that this guy at least deserves a shot.
Yeah. No, he needs to be more like Roldan. He needs to yell at Pulisic more. Maybe he's too quiet in training. Poch still hasn't won against a EU opponent. Correct. Yes, he has not. Especially not when he plays our MLS players against them. Real quick, to get to the quarterfinal, we'd have to beat either Belgium, Argentina, or the winner of Senegal, France, Norway. We know. Thank you, Albert. Our coach keeps glazing the wrong players. Don't forget the perfect player. The perfect player is what he called Cristian Roldan. Guys, I know this has not been a good game. We still have one more game. Tac, you're going to do the 7 things we learned tomorrow.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. 7 things we learned tomorrow. I'm going to put this game on the Patreon. I'm going to highlight the mistakes. I'm going to highlight the good things, whatever there were, especially in the first half. And then we'll take it from there. Let's see what we look like against Portugal. But boy, do we have a hill to climb after this. And we have a long way to go to try to look better. I'm going to watch Poch's press conference, see what he had to say. Thank you to everybody who hung with us. We know it sucks, but hopefully at least we can all be there for each other. All 2,200 of you who stuck it out this entire stream with us. Thank you to all the super chats and to all the Patreon supporters to help support this channel. Thank you also to FanDuel for sponsoring the stream. I'm sorry that your Saturday got ruined, guys. Hopefully we come back on Tuesday and show a lot better than that. Talk to you all.